Now everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Everybody, Cantonese Cat here. I'm gonna go through the indices, go through some of the major Mac 7 stocks and also Palantir. Gonna share with you in terms of what I'm thinking overall. And that's it. I'm gonna probably show this to my members first. Here's the SP 500. You can see that this is the daily chart, and it's really been respecting the scan here very, very well. You can see how it just kind of bounces on one level to another to another. And so far, we are respecting this arc over here pretty well, right? You have the deep seek scare, which basically just ended up getting close to the bottom of the arc here. You have the tariff scare, which basically got to back test the bottom of the arc here once more. And right now, we have again reclaimed this arc over here. I don't know whether or not they're going to end up scaring us with something else next Monday. I do not know the answer to that. All I know right now is that it's following technicals pretty well. If you just go ahead and turn off the can here, you can see how you have a daily katana here. And basically, price is just a little bit way too far overextended here during these whole 2 weeks of uptrend. Left plenty of gaps down here below. We were able to close gap number 1 and gap number 2. And I really seriously doubt that gap number 3 is going to end up getting closing. But we already closed down 2 gaps and we bounced up pretty decently from that. And even looking at the Ichimoku, we've reclaimed the Tenkan conversion line here. So I don't think we're that overextended anymore. We got the 3 white soldier kind of thing going on so far. So far, this looks like a pretty healthy, kind of back test of digestion of this big giant uptrend over here that was very much unsustainable. You can see the entire way up, and there's really not much volume here. We got a little bit more push of volume over here so far, right? So who knows? Maybe they're going to end up scaring us again, and we might end up getting plummeting down here again, and that could bring out a lot of bad sentiment again. Who knows, right? I mean, I can never control what they're going to do. But overall, this is still a very, very healthy correction of a very, very unhealthy bull trend. So this is much necessary. If you all just kind of zoom out here, I'm going to zoom all the way out to the monthly here. And if you ask me whether or not we're going to keep going, well, I gotta say, the Great Matsby is talking about how there's a big resistance right around 600, a little bit over 600 here. It's just been having a hard time pushing through. It doesn't mean that we're going to have it getting rejected hard and come back down. Maybe, but I just think that this is not going to be that bad, because if you ignore the scan over here, what are you going to see from the 2022 high to low here, and you do a Fibonacci retracement and extension level, you can see how we really have just pushed through the 1.618 over here, which is a pretty important Fib level. And we backtested it twice already. So the most likely scenario here is actually more bullish continuation. We are a little bit overextended here on the Ichimoku, but overall, this is still a bull trend. I'm still not going to necessarily bet against it. Are we overextended here a little bit on the Ichimoku here? Yes, we are, right? It's a little bit too far away from the Tenkan here. But over time, it could just be correcting sideways over here through time, and it could just be waiting for the Tenkan to kind of catch up. We had a very perfect back test here back in August, and things just kind of went a lot higher from here. So who knows? Maybe they end up scaring us or something else. I just don't think that they have to. Looking at QQQ, you can also see very similar situation, right? Where you have a hard time kind of breaking above over here. And if I just take off the GAN here on the daily, you can see how, yeah, it's a little bit overextended from the Tenkan. But that's okay. I think it looks like things just probably want to correct here sideways here for a little bit. Can it go down further? Yeah, can't get it roll over. Yeah, those are always possibilities, right? Now, with the QQQ, if you do a Fibonacci retracement, you can see how it already pushed through the 1.618 and back to 1.618 as well, right? So both SPY and QQQ have done this already. And whenever you push through the 1.618, you see how it got rejected over here, got back test area support. Whenever you push through 1.618, it can end up gravitating up to the next level, which is potentially 2.618. Sometimes it's the 2.272, but potentially 2.618 here too. So either $600 or $650. Same thing with the SPY here. Whenever you push above the 1.618, generally you can look at higher levels, which is going to be 2.272 and 2.618. You're just going to be either like 720 or $800, right? So all of these things are entirely possible here. If I also look at the lower time frame here on the daily, you can see what the QQQ is doing. You see how it also has been doing the same thing, bounce from arc to arc, and had a very correction of this very unhealthy trend up here. closed this gap, came back down, back test the arc here almost perfectly twice in a row with these kinds of deep deep seek scare and also the terror scare. It's just basically bouncing at a very important level. It looks like we already pushed through the horizontal zone over here. If we are able to, we might come back test the horizontal here, maybe a little bit lower, and then the next area it's going to go to is going to be this arc up here. It's going to be around the 540s. That's kind of what I'm seeing. The other events, it's both good and bad. Why I say that, the reason why I say that is because you look at the daily chart, is really trying to reclaim the 0.76 very, very clearly. You know, it's been bouncing off and off on the 0.76. If it's able to push through 0.76, then some pretty all-time high stuff could be happening. And if IWM makes all-time high, then a lot of the stocks that I own, like high beta stuff, they're going to do extremely well. And it's kind of setting up to be that way, to be honest, if you ask me. You can see how you have a bullish engulfing candle so far this week. And it looks like it's pushed through the 0.76 for in close about 0.76 potentially 3 weeks before already. This could be a fourth week, even up closing about 0.76. If that's the case, I think we go higher. If that's the case, I think we are really building up a lot of energy to really try to push through some all-time high stuff. Now the problem, what is the problem right now? If you look at daily, we are at resistance. We are at the daily Ichimoku resistance. We've been at resistance here for almost 2 weeks now. Just having a hard time kind of breaking through. Maybe now that we come back test the technical 0.76, maybe you have enough energy to kind of push through and go higher from here. We'll see. One thing that is very, very bullish though is the ARK fund. The ARK fund, if you look at the daily, is more bullish than the SPY, is more bullish than the QQQ, is more bullish than the IWM. Cathie Wood's got something going on here. I think that we might be entering a little bit of a risk-on environment, because if Cathie Wood's stocks are doing well, then I can't really be that risk-off, right? So that is looking pretty decent here. Now, the other couple of things to look at is the 2-year and the 10-year yield. I really do think that they're going down. I'm going to make that not a log scale, but a linear scale. You look at the 2-year, it just looks extremely weak here on the monthly. You see how you have all these rejections here off the bearish cross of the Tenkan Kijun. Looks like the 2-year wants to plummet all the way down to maybe 3.4, 3.5%, all the way from here. Just when the Fed, decides not to do any rate cuts, I think that's exactly when the real yields are probably going to go down from here. You look at a 10-year, it's got a really nasty morning star. It's an evening star look to it. It did manage to bounce about the Tenkan Kijun. This wick over here was able to be a little bit of a higher high here, but we didn't end up closing last month there. We ended up developing like this a really kind of a bearish look here, what we're calling an evening star kind of thing. You do have support here. See whether or not it holds. If it doesn't, it could probably come back all the way down to like 3.3% or something ridiculous. Yeah, this looks like a very, very weak look for yields just when the Fed decides to not cut rates, right? How funny how things work. See the US liquidity continues to go up, see the Chinese liquidity continues to go up, see how the US oil continues to look weak, right? I've been talking about this over and over again. It just looks weaker and weaker and weaker. It looks like it wants to fall under, and I really don't think inflation is going to be that big of a concern anymore. Looking at the major stocks here, I'm going to talk about the Max 7, then I'm talking about Palantir. I'm going to end the show. Tesla. What's Tesla doing right now is trying to hold the 0.86 over here around $378.85. It may hold. I just don't like the fact they keep on pounding on this area, just because of how much effort has been pounding on here. I do wonder whether or not it's going to end up breaking through underneath. And it's going to go back test the 0.786, which is going to be around $350. Right. There are a lot of things that are kind of making me wonder whether or not that's the case. You have the Kijun support down here below. You have the bar support band down here below. So you need some additional support. That would be a logical area for support if it ends up breaking down, right? But there is no guarantee that that has to. If you look at the daily, you can see how it's just been riding low the Bollinger Band here, and it's back testing the 0.86 here again. We'll see whether or not it holds. I would really like to see it hold. If not, then yeah, it opens up the possibility of going down further to like 350, 347, something like that. What is the underlying theme here, though? The underlying theme here is this. I'm going to make sure that I go back to the log scale because it's a very, very strong growth stock that follows logarithmic more than anything. The theme here is this. The theme here is that this is a very, very bullish trend. You have a breakout over here. You got over 0.786. that usually means some all-time high stuff, right? Got rejected here, 1.236 here, but that's okay. Consolidating sideways here, that's okay. The bullish band just simply hasn't expanded far enough for you to have Tesla just kind of push through, right? Right now we have a cool down period here. Right now we got back inside the upper bullish band here. It's not a bearish thing. This is actually a very bullish thing. That's what they meant by bull flags. It's a very impulsive bull trend because you can see a bullish band continues to expand to the upside, downside, 20 moving average continue to flip from resistance over here to support. There's really nothing scary about this. Now, if I give you some additional idea in terms of what happened, in the past, you can see how even in this really crazy parabolic bull cycle over here, you can have some crazy moves where you have the COVID liquidity grab that came really close to the 20-month moving average, and it just bounced, right? I don't think that we have to do that because I don't think that this move up here was as impulsive as this move up here. This move in 2020 was so impulsive that it closed a month way outside the upper bullish band. We haven't really had that, so I don't think we have to come back test and plummet all the way back down closer to 20 back tested. I think we probably are okay where we're at right now, or it could go down a little bit further to maybe like 350 or something like that. It's kind of where I'm seeing. I really doubt that it's going to come down to any of the lower targets that a lot of bears are kind of calling for. I like how whenever you have like price kind of dropping down here, everybody calling for lower prices, well, there's not really any evidence that that's going to be the case. Okay. I still think that Tesla is a very, very powerful bull trend. I still think if you look at the 2-week chart here, there's a lot of demand over here at the zone. It's just that even with all these wicks over here, it might come back down for a final wick to grab liquidity before going up. How low, nobody really knows, but I'm thinking maybe 350, 347, if it decides to do that. Or it could just end up holding current fit level and just kind of go up from here. Although, generally, based on how market structures, you see how like the sellers are like completely exhausted, but I don't know what the market makers wants to do. They might trick us. If they decide to do that, then yeah, I'm going to try and grab more Tesla share around 350, 347. If they don't do that, I'm just going to hold what I have because this is just a bullish continuation, sideways consolidation. There's really nothing else to be concerned about. Nvidia, if I look at Nvidia, I have to look at the monthly chart that I have here. Nvidia is looking like it wants to break through this arc here, rejected the 2.272, which is a very, very big resistance level in general. Backtest the arc here last month, and right now we're doing a backtest here again. It looks like we might be balancing here a little bit, right? You have the Ishimoku, the last month you bounced right off of the tank, and this month you did end up opening a month underneath of it, but we are so able to get above it. We'll see. Hopefully this is not just a wick and we end up just wicking back down here. That would not be good. I don't think that Nvidia has usually lost the blue line of tank in here during its bull market. During its bull market, usually just use the tank and just keep riding up. So this is a little bit of a concern here. If we end up closing a month underneath of that might bring up some additional questions here. But if it ends up finding support there at the tank and it ends up finding support here at the arc, then it should have enough energy to push and re-challenge at 2.272. Push it either end the cycle at 6.8 around $228 or 330, which is going to be around the 3 fib level as well as this horizontal candle level over here. Kind of like how it did last time after it pushed through this arc over here, went to the horizontal. Okay, we're pushing through this arc over here. Maybe we'll go to the horizontal. Who knows? Still hopeful, still has support, still battling support. There are some warning signs. What are the warning signs? This is a late cycle stock. What I mean by late cycle stock, well, if I ever be able to go up the Bollinger Band here, I'll show you. You see how early cycle you have Bollinger Band expansion due to the impulsive price action. You see how late cycle you end up having Bollinger Band contraction because the trend is starting to get exhausted, right? Trend starting to get exhausted over here. You did have a final push up here. You did have a final push up here when the Bollinger Band contracts, right? So now we have a Bollinger Band contracts. I think we might be like maybe somewhere over here, maybe somewhere over here. Maybe we have another leg up. How far does it go? I don't know. It depends on whether or not we're able to truly reclaim the arc, and it depends on whether or not we're able to truly reclaim the Tenkan here on the blue here. We'll see. Yes, Microsoft is also kind of doing its own things. It's been underneath the Tenkan here for months now. This is not generally what Microsoft would do, But again, sometimes it can stay underneath the Tenkan here and just kind of hover before breaking out. If I pull up my Gann chart here, which may give you a better picture of what's happening, this is 362. You can see how the Gann over here especially this last arc over here meant something, right? Rejection, push through, back test, went to the next arc. Rejection, rejection, right? Once you push through the arc, it usually gravitates to the next arc, although I don't really have an arc over here, which means I have to redraw this if it ends up breaking above. But it doesn't matter, we haven't broken above yet, right? Initially, I thought that Microsoft had a chance. Nope, decided to get rejected, and right now we're back at the bottom of the range over here, right? So in terms of what we're gonna do, well, I don't know whether or not it's gonna hold the bottom range. Maybe the 20-minute moving average just kind of goes up, and eventually it's gonna push the price up higher over time. The Ichimoku again is underneath the Tenkan over there, right? So you do have a little bit of resistance there. It's really hard to say in terms of what exactly is going to happen with Microsoft. All I see is I do see some short-term weakness. It looks like it is kind of rolling over here a little bit. But it is still inside. Again, ARC is still stuck in the range and it's still near the bottom of the range. So I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. Sometimes you can have things that look like it is rolling over and it just ends up having bullish continuation, right? Rolling over, look over here, rolling over, look over here, bullish continuation. So we are at resistance. We're having a hard time breaking resistance, but we're also at support, right? So the way I see it is if you're not sure, then do nothing. Okay? It's underneath the support band here too. So it's also on the weekly. It's battling the weekly Ichimoku clouds, trying to push through, but it's just having a hard time doing it. So what should we do at Microsoft? My thinking is nothing. I don't have a position. I just have a lot of exposure through index funds, and overall, it's the stock market is a scam. So I think a stock like Microsoft, which is like the top 3 valuation of the entire market, I think it's probably going to do okay moving forward, because a lot of people also are worried about Apple, right? Apple has been looking like it was kind of rolling over here for a while, and then it didn't end up not doing that, and I've just backtested 0.76 here multiple times. This is what I think Ethereum's doing, by the way. But anyway, bounce, and it just pushed through, right? Where did it get rejected at? 2.272, very important level, right? A lot of stocks are hitting 2.272, including Nvidia and including Apple. What did Apple do after it got rejected at 2.272? Came back down here, backtested 1.6 almost perfectly. Right now it's just hanging out in space. Do I think there's going to be some bullish continuation? Well, let's take a look at some of the indicators. I think so, because it's holding the rising Tenkan here on the monthly almost perfectly. If you look at the Bollinger Band, it looks like it's still expanding to upside. 20-month moving average is still crawling up. This is still a bull trend. I think it's just got rejected where it needed to get rejected. It's just simply way too far, way too fast. It was waiting for the Tenkan to catch up, and now I think it's catch up. So it's caught up, I should say. So I'm not concerned about Apple here at all. Amazon, what's going on with Amazon? Well, why is it not having like all-time highs? Because you have this big giant push up where it got way above the Tenkan over here, and we're also hitting 1.272 resistance level over here. So it's getting rejected here so far. I don't think there's enough energy to push through because it's way away from the base, way away from the Tenkan over here. So it probably needs to cool down here a little bit. It is riding the Bollinger Band on the way up though. So I think it might need to kind of go sideways and hover correct a little bit, but this is still a pretty impressive bull trend for Amazon. I don't think that the cycle ends here. I think the cycle continues. 1.272 is really nothing. I think that it's going to end up making some higher Fibonacci level extension levels up above over time, right? The only thing is that resistance, and it's a little bit too far away from the Tenkan. So you might end up having some correction sideways or price before going up further. How low does the price get? Well, I think it's just follow the Tenkan. That's going to be where your risk level is at. Same thing over here. What happened with these big giant parabolic move? It went sideways for how long? And it actually plummeted over here. Same thing, right? Went up for so fast. What it did come back, plummeted all the way back. What it did over here? It got a little bit too far away from the blue line. Went sideways for like 4 or 5 months. What did it do over here? A little bit too far from the blue line over here. Went down for about 3 months. Right? You can see this happen over and over again. And I think right now we're just a little bit too far overextended. Minimally sideways, possibly down. Right? Google. What did Google do? Minus 7.5% today. I don't even follow the news. I don't really care, to be honest. Because if you look at just the technical in terms of what it's doing, it just went way too far, way too fast. What happened last time when it went way too far, way too fast? Came back and back tested Tenkan, right? Right now, we might be doing the same thing. I actually don't think it has to come back all the way down to the blue line, just like sometimes you just don't, But I don't think it has to come back all the way down to the blue line necessarily. But I don't think that it has enough energy to just keep on pushing up higher. So that's why you end up having a little bit of an inside monthly candle over here with a little bit of a correction which is healthy. Look at the Bollinger Band here. You can see how last month closed way above the Bollinger Band here. This month you are basically just kind of respecting the Bollinger Band here on the monthly. There's nothing really more to that. It's actually a pretty decent spot where it's at. I think it just needs to cool down. Look at the Gann chart here. I have what you have is 360 and 2. What it's basically doing is bounce from this arc up here, push for arc resistance here, backtest arc resistance. Initially you got rejection up here at the horizontal. Now you push through and now it's just kind of backtesting horizontal here. That's why I don't think it has to come back down that much further. It's probably gonna maybe hold support here, maybe even go sideways, maybe even dip down here a little bit, and then come back up here. But I think eventually it's probably gonna grab up an arc up here, maybe sometime around 2026. Is one thing about Google. If you're looking at this kind of perspective, then you really shouldn't care about the 7% move. Because if you care about 7.5% move down today, then you're ignoring the fact that like it basically had a big move up over here over the period of like 6-7 days. Like price went from like 192 all the way to 207, 208, 209. I think that this is really a nothing burger. So I just I just want to let you know, like 7.5% for a stock like Google doesn't necessarily change the trend. It's still holding support. So I think we talked about the Max 7 already, and one last one I'm going to talk about is Palantir. I made a post on X about Palantir. My post is basically this. If you're a trader, you should have sold at 1.414 when things are way overextended. The weekly over here so far is getting rejected at 1.414 as expected, right? Why do I think this can get rejected here at 1.414? Well, even just look at it daily, it's just way too far, way too fast. Do I think this gap has to close? No, I don't think this gap has to close. But minimally, I would like to see either going sideways and wait for the upper Bollinger Band to catch up, or it could end up correcting through price and just come down and get back inside the upper Bollinger Band on the daily. Because right now, this is just not going to go up higher because it's just way above. Like there's just no way for Palantir to kind of keep going up. It has to follow gravity. And I think it will follow gravity, but it will wait for a Bollinger Band to expand before it's able to kind of go back in and go higher, push through the resistance level here. So why am I not selling if I thought that 1.44 is going to be resistance level? Why do I think that it's like way outside the upper Bollinger Band? It's not going to go higher. Why am I not selling? Well, there are a couple of reasons. Number one is even if it forms a higher low, I don't know how low the higher low is going to be. Number two is I don't really want to pay taxes right now. If I sell out of this, I have to pay taxes, and if I end up want to get back into it, it's just really messy. I just don't really care to do any of that. It's just really stressful too, because you're trying to get back in on a higher low. You just don't know where you're going to end up getting into. Overall, Palantir, there's no deny that it's a very, very impulsive bull trend. It's an extremely impulsive bull trend. I have not seen anything like this since the Bitcoin 2015-2017 cycle. Like the downtrend, like the low Bollinger Band continues to expand to the downside. I'm not seeing anything like this since Bitcoin in 2015-2017. I have not seen anything like this since Bitcoin, right? Too many junk here. Let me remove all that. Remove the actually, I want to keep the Bollinger Band here. 2015, 2017. Why do I make a comparison between these two areas over here? It's because I really do see a lot of similarities between the two. If I just simply do a fit retracement level and make this a log scale like I'm doing with Palantir here, I'm not saying that we're gonna go to the moon, right? That's not what I'm saying here at all. I'm not saying that we're gonna go to the moon. But if I just line these two things up here, I have not seen a crazy parabolic bull trend where the Bollinger Band just ends up getting dragged all the way down here with a parabolic move going up, right? I have not seen something like this since Bitcoin 2015, 2017, right? Crazy parabolic bull run. I think that 1.44 is probably going to be resistance here, which it is. And we're also a little bit far away from Bollinger Band, kind of like how we're a little bit far away from a Bollinger Band here. But it doesn't mean that we're not going to necessarily have enough juice over the next half a year to a year to kind of push up to even crazier levels, right? I don't know when it's going to hit the 2.272. All I know is that the trend doesn't seem like it wants to end quite just yet. All I know is that it wants to continue to push up to 1.618 over here. There's going to be plenty of people who are going to take profits, but I'm just not there yet. I don't. we're going to end up getting punished for years after that. Do you see how Bitcoin ended up getting punished for like 3-4 years after that? Right? We're going to end up getting punished for years after that. But meanwhile, I don't want to miss the gains, and there's no reason for me to try to sell and try to buy back. Like over here, if you would have sold over here, where are you going to buy back? Are you going to buy back to this wick over here? Very unlikely, right? If you were sold all the way up to 1.618, are you going to buy back here? Or are you going to wait for 1.4 and 4 back tests, right? You would have missed the rest of the rally, right? So I don't really know what the right answers are. I know is that this is something that's extremely impulsive, and I think it's very, very dangerous to get in the way. If you're already in the bullet train, just stay in the bullet train. Wait for it to decelerate, and then try to get up, right? If you haven't broadened the bullet train, you probably shouldn't try to hop on when it's moving like, 200, 300 miles per hour. And if you are on the train, you probably shouldn't just jump off. It's going to cause a lot of pain. So I'm already on the train. I'm just going to keep riding the train. I'm just going to not do anything about it. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about all these stocks here, and we'll see. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't have a guaranteed. I don't have a whole lot of things that I can promise you. All I can say is I'm seeing that all these stocks and the indexes are still following the technicals, no matter what the narratives are. And if you want me to summarize, I think indexes are, they're looking a little bit rollover, but I think it's just consolidating sideways. I think they just need to do what necessary to cool down before the next leg up, because I do think that global liquidity is coming in. I think that ARK Fund is outperforming the rest of them. I think that the Max 7 Tesla is challenging a very important support level. Nvidia is also trying to repair its technicals here. I think it has a good chance to repair its technicals. Microsoft at resistance, Meta at resistance, Amazon at resistance. Google broke for resistance, is backtesting the support level, which is why it feels bearish, right? And Apple also got rejected here a couple months ago. Right now, it's just hanging out in space. It's burning in energy, kind of push through again. So that's basically the message. They're all following their technicals. Don't worry about it. Things that feel bearish may not be bearish. Things that feel bullish may not be bullish because they're at resistance. That is all. Take care, guys. Bye.